I feel nauseous, believe me. Never had a lot of shit come easy. Had to work hard, struggle just to be me. Had to rise up just so they could see me. Did what I had to do just to feed me. And what was left over I put towards my
Hello and welcome to the Zakuul Arena. So in this video I'm going to be showing you my first ever run of solo mode of the arena in Zakuul and Eternal Championship. I've gone through all 10 bosses. We're going to give you a guide on how to get through all of them. Alright, so let's talk a little bit about how we actually get to the Eternal Championship arena, as it can be a little bit confusing. So first off, I've traveled to Zakuul, which you can only get to once you've gone so far in your story, and then it's a little bit confusing how to navigate the area. Generally what we're trying to do is get to Undercity Plaza, and it's a little bit confusing. So we've gone up our first elevator here, and then we're just going to keep going straight, and then we're going to make a right turn. Now that we've made it to our destination of Undercity Plaza, we are going to be waiting for the elevator to come, as you will die if you just jump down these. They are a pretty far fall. We're going to keep going down the rampway here, and we're going to enter the area that's considered the Platform 6 Cantina. You will actually be able to unlock a quick travel point for Platform 6 Cantina to be able to get back here a lot faster without having to do all this weird running around. So as I mentioned, this is my very first playthrough of ever going into this game mode. So yeah, first time for me. I am set up on a tanking character with some damage stats added in, and my companion is heals. We're going to let you enjoy that conversation to yourself. Once you're done chatting to him, go over to the terminal here, and this is where you pick up the actual mission for it, as well as some weekly missions. Definitely grab the weekly missions. You can play a solo plus player where you go in with other players, which makes it a lot easier to beat. And then of course there is the solo mode, which is what I'm doing today, and that is going in by yourself with nobody else. Once you're in the arena here, you'll notice that behind you there is a repair droid and there is a console. This console is used to tell you a little bit about the upcoming fight, tell you a bit of information about the boss that you're going to be doing, and explain a bit of the mechanics, as well as progressing to the next boss in the arena. Alright, boss number one. We're going to be fighting Arlaia Zayzen. So the main thing to note about this boss is he's got these two droids. One of them has a green beam, which basically heals the boss. So there's not much point in trying to kill the boss while he's being healed. So you want to kill that droid off first. And he has a second droid, which actually makes the boss a little bit more powerful. But once you've killed the droids, you just go ahead and kill the boss. Just keep hitting the boss with whatever your favorite weapon of choice is until he's dead. Alright, boss number 2 in the arena. We're going to be fighting Daruula Grah next. He has two pets, or two beasts that are out with him at all times, and he also happens to throw a grenade which will kill his beast. So as you can see, I'm going to place this grenade over top of the ads, which will kill them. Oh, you know what, it's not really ideal having to choose between standing in a grenade and attacking the boss. So instead I'm going to place the second grenade a little bit off to the side so that it kills the ads, and I'm still able to freely attack the boss without having to think about whether or not I'm standing in his grenade. So we just rinse and repeat the cycle of trying to get the ads into his grenades to have them die to it while we kill the boss by just straight up hitting him in the face with your favorite weapon of choice. Alright, boss number 3, Gungus Boga. He is going to be putting down a giant circle on the ground, which is going to deal a butt ton of damage if you don't get out of it. And he also has some smaller circles of fire, so just make sure you're avoiding those. And he has ads, Herald of Zildrogs. You want to make sure that you're not letting too many ads group up. The idea with this fight is it's kind of teaching you that you don't always want to kill the strongest enemy first, as all the smaller enemies are doing damage to you, so it's better to take them out of the way so they stop dealing damage, and then you can resume killing the biggest target with the most health. So as you can see here, this is the giant circle you have to dodge. The nice thing is we do not have to micro our companion at all to get out of that, and hitting the boss with your favorite weapon until he is very dead. Alright, boss number 4, we are going to be fighting Conraad Om'Wurt and his Chlorslug Chompers. So in this one, there's a couple little things that you want to know about, is that when you kill one of them, the other one will become enraged, and yeah, potentially having an enraged enemy can be very hard to survive through. This is going to be pretty easy still, as it's on the lower levels. So basically what this fight is trying to teach you is how to deal with bosses that enrage when one dies, so you can kind of pace your DPS and make sure that you're not killing one enemy too fast. So I'm just doing a bit of damage to both. The slug does have a lot less health here, so you can see that he actually gets knocked down, and then you can see the res messages basically say that his ally has become enraged and is dealing more damage, so just use some defensives if you're finding you're taking damage too fast. As you can see, the slug is regenerating its health at the same time here, so I'm just going to finish killing off Conrad, and boom, he is dead, and that happened before the slug regenerated, so fight over. Alright, boss number 5. We're going to be fighting Victor Lanos.
In honor of Valkorion, I still fight for you, Zakuul.
So the key thing to think about with this boss is he's got a lot of ads that come out. They're trying to show you that you can interrupt ads' abilities when they're channeling. Of course, using something like my slam on weaker enemies also stuns them, which counts as an interrupt. So the whole point is just how do you deal with ads, how do you deal with kind of interrupting different things. That's the general idea. These guys, they're just teaching you to kind of get out of their range. They do explode. As you can see here, I tried to put one of the exploding droids on Lanos to see if it would make a difference. It doesn't appear to actually make much of a difference. Pretty simple, other than the fact that he's got all these ads that you want to manage. And the nice thing here is once you defeat him, his Sky Troopers, they don't really take too much to kill off. Boss number 6, Breaktown Brawler. This is where things actually start getting a little bit tough, and I struggled a little bit. As you'll see, this first pull wasn't so great. I'm going to start off by reading the tooltips here. One of the big things is they've got these purple circles around them called Range Suppression Shield. So if you don't deal damage from inside of that purple circle around their feet, all that damage is reflected back to you and you kill yourself. Which is exactly what I do in this run right away. And I originally thought it was the enrage mechanic of letting them all stack on top of each other that killed me. No, I killed myself with reflect damage and didn't even realize. So for my second attempt here, my original thought was I'm going to swap to a melee companion who can take one of the ads away from the others, so that way, you know, I don't have to have them all group up at once. And, well, that's not exactly what I ended up doing. I pulled out the melee companion. I did micro my melee companion to go and attack one of the beasts. What you will notice that I'm doing a lot differently here is I realized that the main boss, he actually moves at a different speed that's much faster than his two beasts. So I just kill him first, keeping him separated from the beasts, so that nobody's getting enraged and dealing that extra damage. So once we've killed the main boss, we're going to be just fighting the two beasts off on their own. So again, you just want to try and keep them separated while you're fighting them. But one of the things that really helps with this is occasionally one of them will stop and do the beat its chest things and it'll stop moving. So that's great. That's a great opportunity to split them up a little bit further. Once you beat Mr. Ripper and King Crush, you've now beaten the 6th boss, and we're going to be getting on to the 7th boss, and this is where it really started to struggle. Alright, boss number 7, Nocturno and Drake Raven. So when you look at the tips that are given for this fight, they actually don't really give you that great of tips. They say, tackle one will find a way to keep the other off your back and watch out for your companion because they've been known to pull some dirty tricks. The interesting thing though is that both these bosses actually have a buff on them that means that they're going to ignore your companion. Reading the tooltips, Drake Raven, he is unaffected by his own stun lines, and he also has no time for sidekicks, which is just a fancy way of saying that he's going to ignore your companions. If we look at Nocturno, we're going to see that he has perfect defense, so he is in tank mode at certain times, drastically reduces all damage received, but similarly reduces movement speed. The effects end if Nocturno is stunned. So there's a bit of a thing here that's going to be a theme with stunning Nocturno. Also has eyes on the prize, which means that no time for companions, gonna just ignore them. So this is a part about watching out for your companion, is making sure you're being aware of when the ads spawn, either using your mini-map or moving your camera around regularly, see where those spawns are. And again, these ads do have that purple circle, so be very mindful of how you're dealing damage to those ads inside of that circle, so you're not reflecting yourself to death. So again, just watching out for that red circle when you're in the ads, and I forget to do it. So that hurts a little bit. And of course this yellow, if you can get out of it, do get out. It doesn't hurt your companion. Alright, so another interesting thing that happens with Nocturno is Nocturno does quite often have some times where he turns red and he runs really fast, and it's not a great day. So when you do have Nocturno in this mode, chasing you around red and angry, just try and lead him into one of your stun grenades. And, well, this is where I screw up. Nocturno should not die first. As you can see, Drake has now suddenly gone back to full health, has a new buff called Ascended. Drake Raven is the hero now. Damage dealt increased by 100%, Saturation Fire has upgraded to Withering Fire, cast times and ability cooldowns are considerably reduced. Needless to say, I'm going to die very soon. At this point, I've kind of completely forgotten that I even had a companion, so my companion dies to the ads. Just not worth it. Just not worth it. I should have just used /stuck. So what did we learn from this attempt that we want to take into attempt number 2, right? So the very first thing that we learned is Nocturno must die last. Do not let Nocturno die first. The other thing that we want to think about is using those stun grenades on Nocturno. We kind of figured that out. And of course, watching for when the ads do spawn to make sure that your companion doesn't die. So attempt number 2 is going much better. I am working on making sure that I get both of them fairly low on health because I don't want to be completely out of stun mines. But for some reason here, I don't know what I am thinking. You know, I've just about got Drake Raven dead and Nocturno's very low on health. And I screwed up again. Like, damn it. Why? Why am I doing this to myself? So, needless to say, attempt number 2 results in my death. Let's move on to attempt number 3. Alright, so attempt number 3 is going to go much better. We have kind of learned from our past mistakes. We know what we need to do. So, this time though, be very careful. We don't want to make the same mistake I made in attempt number 2, where I had Drake Raven down to like 1 health, right? And then didn't deal with it. So my companion actually finished off Drake Raven for me right there. I was totally unaware of that in the moment, but it works out just fine. As you can see, I have a lot of extra stun grenades, which I can use to keep trapping Nocturno and being able to deal more damage while not taking any myself. Finishing off the 7th challenge, which I think at 2 deaths, this was the hardest one that I had to go through. And at this point, I finally realized there's actually a counter to tell you which boss you're on, so coming up to boss 8 next. Boss number 8 is a little bit interesting here. We've got Ronum Minkus, and he also has a beast that's with him, Little Gut. The interesting thing is Ronus Minkus, he actually just stealths up for the fight. He really doesn't do too much, other than throw some stuff down that you need to avoid. The interesting thing here is they said you need to coordinate with your companion to make sure that you're not taking too much damage. So as you can see here, I'm just looking to see what's coming out, if there's anything else, where he's gone to. So occasionally handlers need to come out and you need to kill those. And you can see now the trap in the background where my companion's trapped. That is where I need to coordinate with my companion. So I need to piece my companion so that he's going to walk out of there. Or of course, if you get out of a certain range of your companion, they'll instantly teleport to you. But these traps here, you got to make sure that you're taking your companion out of as soon as possible. So again, just piecing him to try and get him out of there, and then put him back to normal mode once he's out. The red circles you can definitely get out of, the yellow circles you cannot. I tried Blade Blitz at yellow, seeing if there's some way to cheese it. There is no way to cheese that yellow attack. So I can tell you here that the red circle actually does hurt your companions. Just don't stand in front of that terrifying roar. It probably hurts a fair bit. The handler, as you can see, just enraged the boss. So you want to make sure that you're actually dealing with that handler and killing him in a timely manner, as well as just some small ads to kill. And there's really not too much else to say here. This fight is pretty much just repeat these simple mechanics. And now you've defeated the boss, and we're going to move on to boss number 9. Alright, boss number 9, Doom Droid, with its intimidating kind of noise. Basically, the idea here is you just don't want to take damage from stuff, including your companion doesn't want to take damage from stuff. The boss itself doesn't deal a lot of damage outside of its specialty attacks, like this laser beam attack. It does quite a bit of damage. And this missile strike, the yellow attack here, you can dodge these and you can set them up in such a pattern that they're not going to hit your companion, and you're still going to be able to melee the boss. And there are some ads who come in too, so you want to be aware of one of these ads is kind of a self-detonating exploding ad. Just make sure that you take it off somewhere that's out of the way so that it doesn't hurt you. I wanted to see what it would do. It hurt my companion a heck of a lot there and didn't do any damage to the boss. Now the other main mechanic that we have to deal with here is this kind of channel for the pulse thingy in the middle. You just have to kill these 4 ads. Once you've killed all 4 of the droids, you just go to attack the boss. From here on out, the fight is pretty much just a rinse and repeat of these simple mechanics. So making sure that us and our companion are getting out of the damaging effects from the boss, making sure that you deal with the ads that spawn in, and the self-destruct exploiting droid, you want to make sure that that doesn't hurt your companion or yourself. So congratulations, you have now defeated boss number 9 in the Eternal Championship Arena of Zakuul. So boss number 10, you don't really get anything useful out of the terminal on how to fight the boss or defeat him. You just get told, yeah, apparently he's going to bring us a Zakuul walker in. The real interesting thing about this fight is something that we'll see a little bit later. I'll just let you know initially though that you really have to manage your companions to make sure your companion's not taking damage. So the boss will actually spawn in some support droids here. The thing I wasn't able to figure out is the red attack here, this telegraph that these support droids do. I don't know if there's actually anything you can do with that, maybe weaken the boss, whatever, but this is the boss's main attack that you need to get out of, and it's really good to know that this attack actually kills the droids. So that is one of the key things there, is you don't actually need to spend a lot of time killing the droids when you can just get the boss's attacks to kill them for you. Of course, make sure your companion's not in this circle because it will really hurt your companion. And this is where I found out something really interesting. You actually destroy the Kolto stations around the map as well when this big attack goes on them. So yeah, I haven't been using any of the Koltos. Oh well, whatever. I'm not gonna miss them. Yeah, I just found that was a fun little surprise, the fact that it actually kills the Kolto stations as well. So there is an interesting second phase to this fight where the boss will temporarily kind of get stunned the walker and out pops actual person, right? Eternal Champion Zotar. So you're going to be fighting him, and he really doesn't have too many mechanics that you need to be too worried about. Yeah, it's pretty much, again, just like a spanking tank. You just got to be careful to stay inside of this area here, and then the walker will become healed.
Fuse like a magnet, moves won't have it till I'm doomed in a casket. I ain't playing, got a weird.
So fun little thing that you can do here is you can actually kill him with his own walker. So that's a lot of fun. Basically everything just dies at that point, and congratulations, you now have the achievement. You are the Master of Mayhem. This was all over the place, but I hope you guys really enjoyed the walkthrough, seeing what it was like to go through the Eternal Championship, learn a little bit about each of the 10 bosses so you can kind of see my process of going through them and some tips and tricks on what you need to do on each boss, as well as showing you the fails that I had. Also, really interesting to note is the different vendors here. So if you are a level 65 player and you have artifact authorization, you can actually get some pretty decent gear here, going all the way up to item rating 220 gear, but it takes a lot of doing this. Additionally, there are some decorations which you can buy for your stronghold here, mostly just hollows, but you can get some color crystals, which is pretty sweet. You can get a mount, you can get a few weapons, and you can get an armor set for cosmetic reasons. So if you want to know more about getting optimal gear for your character, or you want to know about how to make your companion better, definitely go out and check my detailed videos on gearing guides, or some of my other videos out there, like how to get better, how to play better. And I do have some class guides for any of the classes that you do play that I have a guide. And if I don't have a class guide up, go check out Mark Biggs, his YouTube channel. He's got class guides for all the ones that I'm missing. So as always, have a great day, and see you soon as an Eternal Champion of the Arena of Zakuul.